Morning, everyone. Welcome back to Freedom Ridge Homestead. I started a garden tour the other day and my SD card got corrupted, so I am gonna redo it and hopefully this time it works. So come on. So as you can tell, we have built a greenhouse out of some plastic, wood that we got at Home Depot, and some scrap wood, and an old shed in a box frame that we had. And then we just secured it all together, used pallets to make tables. And so far this is where I've been able to keep the majority of my plant starts. As you can tell, it gets really hot in here. We don't have ventilation just yet, except for when I come up and open the door. That cools it off quite a bit. Leave that open all day and close it at night. But right now I have some zucchini starts coming up, dark green zucchini, early prolific yellow squash. I have more that I'm waiting for them to come up. As you can tell, one's starting to peek through. These are butter dish squash that are starting to come up, and yellow crook's neck squash. And then these are tasty green cucumbers, and there's one right there coming up and one right there, and then right back there is a little one. And then over here, they look a little dead, but they're not. These are, this one is a pear start that we cut off my tree yesterday. This one is the same, another pear. This is from our peach tree. Nice and big, long start. And then this one doesn't look like much because all the leaves fell off, but it's pretty secured in there, so it's definitely rooted, but that's a peach tree. Went to Home Depot and we were shocked to find pineapple. So hopefully in a few years we'll be able to have a decent pineapple. These are cuttings from elderberry that my friend's son was able to get me. Waiting for them to root, and then I'll plant them in the ground. Don't need them getting taken out by a weed eater since they just look like sticks currently. These are some other starts that I did. Getting a little discouraged, they're not coming up. Some cucumber, straight 8, soyo long, chrysanthemum seeds I started in here. They're not coming up yet. Nasturtiums, loofah. And then over here, these are not coming up yet, but I literally just planted them a few days ago. Cherry chocolate sprinkle tomato, Black Beauty tomato, Mr. Stripey, yellow bell paste tomato, long tom paste, and super Italian paste tomato. Hopefully those come up. Not going to be too worried if they don't come up. I've already got 150 tomato plants that are already planted in my garden. I took a page out of Jess from Roots and Refuge this year when I planted all of them and put one egg underneath them all for their... Seems to be working so far whenever I've done it, so I definitely want to give credit where credit is due, and that was great advice from her. Anyway, week 1 garden tour. We have in this box some daisies, tiger lilies that I just planted. These are my Jerusalem artichokes. Now, I was told that these spread if you don't keep them contained, and even though they are contained to a small box, there's already shoots coming out from under the ground. As you can see, that is not in the box. Same with those. So that'll be fun getting out this year. And here I have some carrots that I've started. I did plant more. Whether they come up or not this late in the season, I'm not sure. Same in this box. Some carrots. Planted more. Looks like just weeds are coming up at this point. This is our horseradish plant. Overwintered. We got it last year when we were up in Pennsylvania, and it has done amazing down here in the climate. We only got one from them, and it's just taken off. I can't wait to harvest this. In this box we have 3 different types of garlic. We have, this is elephant garlic, Bavarian garlic, and Persian garlic, and then we have some of them kind of mixed in throughout because we had to dig some up at my mom's and replant them before they went bad. But as you can tell, this gorgeous elephant garlic is already starting to get escape. Over here I have my bush beans, my climbing beans. I have some basil planted there and here. Then these are all my shelling peas along this side, with 2 volunteer tomato plants. Not 100% sure what exactly the variety is, because last year we did have a lot of tomatoes in this bed, so I'm not taking them and putting them somewhere else. I'm just gonna leave them and see what happens. But these are Mr. Big Pea shelling peas. Over here I have Alaska shelling peas. Then on this side is sugar snap peas. It's more sugar snap over there. Last night I found a bunch of potatoes that had already started to come up, and I decided to plant them in here. Over here I have my broccoli, and over here is some broccoli as well. In this box I have my purple echinacea that has come out, and this is another cone flower, and then you can't really see it with all the weeds here, but there's right here is white swan echinacea. Then I've got some comfrey planted right here from a friend. My yarrow has taken off. I have 2 different types. Fruity Tooty. I'm not 100% sure what this one is, but it's all mixed throughout. Over here is my orange hat micro cherry tomato, and it's already starting to get some tomatoes on it. This is the only one that survived that I planted. I'm hoping that I can keep it all year up in my house. Then this is rosemary that I'm hoping comes back. It's still got some green on it. It's overwintered outside. And this one is Siberian irises. I'm going to be putting those in the ground come fall so they can spread. Right here is a fig tree. Looks pretty dead, but we're getting this coming up, and I'm not sure if that's still part of the fig tree or not, but I'm hoping it is, so it comes back. My husband had bought that for my mom, and we've just kept it over here in the pot, and I'm not sure if it got root bound and that's why it hasn't really gotten any bigger, or if it's just because it's too cold in the winters. But from what I've been told, fig trees are kind of finicky when it gets too cold. Behind me, I have a peach tree. We do have a wild one on our property, but we never seem to get anything from that one. So we have this one, and right there you can see one peach so far. We did have a late frost, and as much as I tried to cover it, the tree was getting more blooms taken off from it than I wanted, so we just kind of hoped for the best. Over here is a pear tree. We have not gotten any pears off of it yet, but it is also our 4th year with it, and it was kind of fairly questionable when we got it, but it's doing amazing now, so hopefully we'll be able to get pears off of it soon. I do have another one on the opposite side of my garden for pollination. This box, I did plant carrots in here. I don't know if the little seedlings made it when we had gotten the late frost. I did plant more, so I'm hoping those come up. Some did make it, so I have like a few here and here coming up, and then along that trellis is more climbing beans. Over here are more garlic in these 3 pots, snapdragons in that green pot. Then I just planted more potatoes in these 5 boxes, and then more snapdragons. Over here in this box is marshmallow root that I overwintered. Came up pretty late last year, so I'm hoping I'll see some this year. In this box, you can't tell yet, but I did plant saffron in here, and it did come up over the fall, and I was able to get some off of it. So I'm hoping to see more this fall. And the saffron that I put in this box I had gotten from Lowe's, of all places. Just 7 bulbs, nothing fancy, and magically came up. Then I put all of my mints in these little boxes because the bags that they were in were starting to fall apart. So this is my chocolate, or my apple mint right here. Then I have my peppermint. This is my spearmint. My lemon balm was in here. It should come back. It's usually really good about that, even though it doesn't look like much. And then this is my chocolate mint. As you can see, it's starting to come up a little bit. I don't mind if it gets out and spreads over in this direction, just because my bees will enjoy that a lot. Over here, I have 5 elderberry plants. 4 of them we got this year that were just as tall. I don't think I'll be getting any elderberries off them this year, but I put them up here so they didn't get hit with the weed eater, because as you can tell, this one was just a plain little twig and it kept getting weed eated and hit. So that one I've had for at least 2 years. It just didn't get to grow. And then our plan is, because we expanded the garden out, we're gonna do 2 deep, so the railroad tie will eventually come out to here, and in this spot right here and in that other spot where it's dug up are 2 elderberry roots that I got from a friend, and then those other 2 elderberry plants will go on the other side once they get better rooted, and we'll cover this all in with nice mulch and make it look a little nicer than what it does now. Over here, this is my Concord grapevine. We managed to get these up in Pennsylvania as well, the same time we got the horseradish. And as you can tell, there's little clusters starting to form. And I have 2 of these, so 1 on each side. And they're both doing amazing. Then this year we got these 2 white grapes. They're Hemrod seedless bunch grapes, and they're starting to grow and look like something other than sticks. This is the other Concord grape with its little clusters starting. This was supposed to be my field of poppies. I had ordered the bread poppies and some other poppies. I traded, planted all over winter. I don't know why all of them aren't coming up, but the few that have come up, I'm really excited to see what they look like, and hopefully I can reseed everything and completely cover this with poppies. So right here are the giant rattle poppies from Baker Creek. Initially I did it from where you see those 3 all the way over. Now, I don't know why the other ones didn't come up and just those 3 did. Over here are just different poppies that I planted. Giant poppy. I do have one coming up here. Over this way, I've already got some California poppies coming up and that have flowered. And it's just a nice, beautiful flower that my bees get to enjoy. Then in this box, again, this box was all saffron over the fall. Now it's just weeds. But those I got from So True Seeds in Asheville, North Carolina. And I wasn't prepared for it, but I planted them and they started coming up left and right in the fall. And they were just beautiful. Small little beautiful flowers with the red saffron out of them, and I instantly fell in love. Then this year we have expanded this part of our garden. This front row up here with the chicken wire is all beans, climbing beans, and we just wanted to get as much as we possibly could out of it. So we still haven't gotten the trellis up yet for the connecting part of it. We were waiting to do that because I was still getting the trellises up for the tomatoes. Up here where the trellises for the tomatoes stop, I planted marigolds and zinnias and just everything you could possibly think, just to have some nice flowers. And then along these 3 trellises and rows, there's 3 trellises at 16 feet, and there's 3 of them per row. Most of them are paste tomatoes for sauce. Then I've gotten 1 whole row of just paste tomatoes, half a row of paste tomatoes in this first one, and then about 8 in this second or third row here. And then we do have some cherry tomatoes and regular slicing tomatoes. So this spot right here is empty at the moment. I'm going to throw some basil seeds in here soon, try to get those mixed in with it. But all of those have come up amazing. The third row, we did buy the majority of the tomatoes in it. We do have 1 row that has no tomatoes in it yet. Those will be for when the other tomatoes I have started come up, for the simple reason we can get what we have off of these other tomatoes and then swap and get more tomatoes off of the other ones. So we have not set up this 3rd row with the trellises yet, for the simple reason it was very difficult for me to plant the tomato starts between the 2 trellises. It was very claustrophobic to me, and I know it's going to get worse once they all grow, but that'll be standing up in, not sitting down and trying to make sure everything is separated, and you know, everyone has an egg underneath it and the hole is deep enough. But so we do have 1 empty row, and it does look very weird. And then this row here right in front of me, those are all peppers. I have 3 paprika peppers and the rest are sweet peppers. I just planted 3 more at the end that are orange bell peppers that I got yesterday. And the end of that row, I did carnations and zinnias. So those 3 are the only 3 that I did not start from seed. They look kind of puny. I hope they survive. But these are cucumbers that I just planted in this row that I got yesterday, and then the rest I've started. Then in the next 2 rows are melons, Charleston Gray, Hale's Best Jumbo Cantaloupe, Sugar Baby, Kajari, all of it. Boston pickling cucumbers, the Chicago pickling cucumber, some space for when the other ones come in for that particular one. These are my melon rows, and then these are my yellow squashes that I've planted, and as you can see, it's not nearly planted, because these I'm going to do in sections. So the ones that I have in my greenhouse, I will come out and I'll start planting those, so that way we get squash at different times. Then I have all of my zucchini, my black beauty, my Ford Hook zucchini are all there. And then finally, in these last few spots from here back is corn, which is starting to come up. Not a lot, but starting to look like something other than dirt and weeds coming up. And then along this last row, I have sunflowers planted, some seeds that are coming up hopefully soon. I have hollyhocks planted, I have zinnias planted, I have just, you name it, I tried to plant it as best as I could in this last row. And then the rest of it was corn. This is the biggest garden we have done. I'm a bit nervous and I am a bit overwhelmed thinking about what's going to happen when harvest time comes. We do plan on making a lot of sauce. Pretty much the rest of my garden in the boxes are lettuces and beans, and I have spinach growing. And I tried to do the shade crops, like the spinach in between my trellises, in hopes that once the beans get tall enough, it'll provide the shade specifically for my lettuce and my spinach to grow. So all in here I did plant spinach. Some of it's doing really good, some of it didn't make it because it did get too hot really quick. But all of this is beans and more beans, and then the rest of this box is potatoes. This is supposed to be pine berries. I got bare root pine berries. I've pulled a bunch of weeds out of it yesterday. Still no pine berries coming up. I'm hoping they do come up because we did enjoy them when we tried them, but if not, it'll end up being another strawberry bed. Over here, this is chamomile I bought yesterday and I planted in here. This is my mom's asparagus bed, and in here we also have some regular strawberries that we planted in here. That is my dwarf peach tree right there. And then I have a rose of Sharon right here. And I love when this blooms. Variegated and very beautiful. And all in here is blackberries. We have tried to maintain it. We have tried to cut it back to make it a little more manageable. So far nothing works. And this was here when we bought the property. So, oh, geez. And don't mind my cat. She just decided to jump on my back. Apparently she wants a piggyback ride. But same with over here with the trellises. I have my peas and some beans on either side, and those are my different lettuces that I've planted. On this side are more, on this side is more potatoes that I have planted, and then over in this box is our normal strawberry bed. And as you can see, my son is going to be so thrilled to see that he has some ripe strawberries coming in. And I'll have to put bird netting over it so we don't get any birds eating them. But so far, that is everything growing in my garden. It has definitely been rewarding to expand again, and hopefully this will be a good size for us and I won't have to expand again and redo fencing and posts and stuff like that, because as you can tell, we still have quite a bit of property to do that if we wanted to. My goal, hopefully, is on this ridge right here, because it kind of goes up and dips down, to plant those other trees and do a little orchard on here. That way I'm not crowding out in there with trees and too much shade, because we already have the 4 surrounding the boxes. But we will see how everything goes, and hopefully I'll be able to get some apple trees soon, and my elderberries will be good. And I just love coming up here in the morning and sitting and being able to enjoy my beautiful garden and watch my bees get the pollen. And over here we have some flowers and some thyme. And just get to enjoy everything. I have blueberries coming up.